Hi guys! Okay, so this is actually going to be the last video in my JustMeJune series. I hope you guys like these videos. Super excited because this is actually a collab with a GlamGlitterHipster1. I am going to link all of her information in the down bar. She's amazing. She's like adorbs and has the greatest personality. Like, she's just so bubbly, and it's just like her happiness is so infectious. I love her. She actually has sort of like this series of videos on her channel called No Makeup Monday, hence the bare face. Kind of hope I don't look like a scrub. But she asked me to do a collab and participate in her No Makeup Monday, where she sort of just gets on and talks about any given topic, gives some advice and some input, and she thought it'd be a great idea since I am doing my JustMeJune videos, and I'm super excited. I'm so glad she asked me to do it, and this video is actually going to be about friendship, and you know, okay, so I think my phone decided, no, not my phone, my camera decided to shut itself off. Anyway, where was I? Yes, no, peer pressure. Okay. So I remember in high school there were these two girls, after I switched schools after freshman year. They had approached me. They realized I was the new kid. They were totally nice. I talked to them, like we talked to each other on the phone. I remember, it's funny, my parents were super strict and wouldn't allow me to go anywhere by myself. And I remember the first time I was allowed, like, to go to the mall by myself with my friends is with these two girls. It was so awesome. We're hanging out, we're having a great time, and then a few days later at school, I realized, like, no one was really talking to these two girls. People are sort of making fun of them behind their back, and basically, like, looking back, I'm so ashamed of myself because I ended up stopping talking to both of these girls for the rest of, like, high school, like, literally for the next 3 years. I did not talk to them once I realized, like, they were sort of in the unpopular crowd. Like, no one really talked to them. And I feel so bad, but I think when you're younger, you sort of, you allow other people's opinions and peer pressure to get to you and really affect who you're friends with. And I will say, now that I'm older, like I said, I'm 27, and there is still pressure, sort of, from other people. Or, you know, other people give your opinions on who you hang out with, but it's so much easier for me now, I guess because I'm more established with who I am as a person, I'm more comfortable with who I am, and I know my boundaries and limitations and what's important to me. It's more easy for me to go, well, no, I still want to be this friend no matter what anyone says. I guess an example of that is, like I said, I'm 27. I'm with people who, you know, who are old enough to, like, not to know better than to pressure someone out of being friends with somebody else, basically. And one of my best friends, I met him through my work. Like, he started working at my job. It was funny because we didn't entirely get along at first, and I don't even remember how we established such the great friendship that we have right now, but he is awesome. And I guess it's because he's a male and other people saw me hanging out with him often. Like, I would go into the store with him, or, you know, on Facebook, I'd be like, oh, I'm with this person, you know, we're at the zoo, or we're shopping, or whatever. I had other people at my job, but people who are my age and people who are older than me, you know, making rude comments about how I was cheating on my husband, or what am I doing hanging out with a man that isn't my husband, and what would my husband say, and all of this. And I think if it would have been 10 years ago, I totally would have stopped being friends with him. I would have been like, oh no, everyone's judging me, everyone's saying all of these things, I can't be friends with this person. And now, like I said, I'm older, I have a little bit more, you know, self-confidence, and now that, you know, the only people's opinions that really matter to me in my life now are, you know, my family and my husband. And I sat there and I was like, hold on, my husband doesn't have an issue with this. My family doesn't have an issue with this, so why would I let anyone, like, affect me being friends with this guy? Like, he's so sweet. And it's so funny because people would sit there and say things like, oh, you know, have you guys kissed? Or why do you hang out with him so much? Are you, like, what's going on? Are you having an affair? And I laugh it off because it's so funny because the majority of the time I hang out with this other guy with my husband. Like, it's usually the three of us, and we're all hanging out doing something, getting into some sort of trouble or just goofing off. But like I said, the pressure, that weird, I don't know, it's so funny because it's like some of these people, like some of the people who are saying these things are literally like in their 50s and 60s. Like, come on, folks, you know, y'all way too old. Not old. Sorry if anyone's that age and watches my videos. Not old, but you're, you know, like, that's totally inappropriate to say something like that anyway. It's completely insulting to accuse me of cheating on my husband. Just rude. And then to say it to sort of get me to stop talking to this person or whatever, that's ridiculous. And like I said, I'm still friends with him. That didn't impact me, you know, I didn't hang out with him any less. It was just sort of became a joke between him and I and my husband, and sort of like we sit there and we laugh at everybody sort of making fun of the three of us or whatever, because it's so silly to even think that I would, you know, number one, the idea of even cheating on my husband is ridiculous, but then it's silly to like have grown people sit here and act like children and be like, come on. What else about friendships? I would say definitely one of the other things about friendships that I've learned is that sometimes you'll be surprised where you find friendships, who you end up finding friendships in. One of the reasons, I mean, I didn't expect to become really good friends with this guy who started working at my job. Like, people, oh my goodness, in my job, we have employees coming and going every single day. So it was funny, you know, that I ended up being so close with him. GlamGlitterHipster is a great example. Oh, she is adorbs and I love her. And she ended up contacting me about my videos. I was watching her videos and, you know, we messaged each other, and then we come to realize, like, we probably live, like, maybe 20 minutes away from each other. Like, that's crazy. So, number one, like, I never thought doing YouTube videos would really, like, lend itself into me establishing, like, real friendships with people, let alone, like, who would have thought I would have become friends with somebody who lives, like, literally 2 seconds from me. Like, that's awesome. I think also within that sort of you never know who you're going to be friends with category falls into your parents and your siblings are probably, I would say, going to end up being some of your best friendships and some of the closest, best relationships you end up having. If you would have told me that when I was 13, I would have been like, hell to no. You know, like, number one, no one gets along with their parents when they're younger. Like, and if you do, that is great. Stick with that relationship. Don't let it change you, and let anyone change that for anything. 2 is, like, I don't know about anybody else, but, like, I have a really big age gap in between my sisters. I have 2 older sisters. My one older sister's 8 years older than me, and the other one's 14 years older than me. So that's kind of like we were all at different life stages at different times. Like, when my oldest sister was getting married, I think I was, like, still in grade school, like, rocking out to Flintstones and whatnot, and she's, like, all establishing her life. Like, what the heck would we have had in common then? And my other sister, my goodness, we fought like cats and dogs, like, no joke, on the reels. Like, my parents would get to a point where we fought so much, like, we weren't allowed in the same room, really, with each other. Like, it was like, you guys need to stay separated, because we would fight and scream, and, like, I don't even know what about, to be quite honest. I can't even remember what it was. We were just, I think, probably vying for like, my parents' attention, and, you know, like I said, there was a big age gap, so I think she was used to sort of being the baby for a long time. I came along, and I'm used to being the baby, so I wanted all the attention, and now, like, I can't imagine not being friends with my sister. Like, now that I'm older, we talk about relationships. I call her, and we talk about marriage and babies and kids, and we hang out with each other, and which is funny, like, going from we're not allowed in the same room with one another because we'll bite each other's heads off to hanging out. Like, there have been times where I didn't even feel like I could call my closest best friends, like, and I call my sister, and, like, there are things that just her and I have now, and I don't think you realize that when you're younger, but you really, like, those are 2 of the best friendships I've had. And with my parents, I mean, hello, like, we're not out, like, kicking it, clubbing, like, me and my mom and my dad, but we're friends in the manner in which now, like, I can legitimately, like, I would ask them for the same advice sometimes I would ask my husband for, I would ask my best girlfriend for, you know, like, before I would be like, oh, they don't understand what I'm going through, they don't know anything about anything, and now it's like, oh my gosh, my parents have, like, they've been through so much, they've been through the same things I've gone through, I want their advice, and they're like, actually fun to be around, they're funny, like, I like my mom and dad, and it's so funny because I think, oh, they're so much older, and I don't even remember what it was. Like, my parents are the people who got me hooked on Downton Abbey, and I would have never, like, watching it, like, when I watched that show, I'm like, there were moments I'm like, my parents watch this? Like, really? Like, this is too cool for them? Like, my mom and dad watch this? Like, it's funny, because you think your parents are lame, and they're really not. Like, honestly, they're actually pretty cool people. So, yeah, I will have to say, that is one of the main things I've learned, is that you never know who you're going to become really close to, and you don't realize really how important and how close you are. I mean, just because people are related to you just because they're your mom and dad and your siblings, and you think that they're uncool, they're really, really not, and they have become, like, some of the best friendships that I have. I will also say, with that, with not knowing where you're going to find a friend, sometimes you also don't realize how quickly a friendship can end. Basically, I was friends with this girl. I met two girls my freshman year of high school. One of these girls I still talk to this day. She's like a sister to me. She's my best friend. Like, I love her. And the other girl, we were friends for like maybe 10 years almost. Like, we were friends for a good period of time. And gosh, 10 years, that was like half of my life. I mean, I'm only 27. That was a huge chunk of time. But she was going down a path in life that I couldn't get on board. It was, everyone makes stupid mistakes and makes silly decisions and things that they aren't proud of when they're younger, but you sort of grow out of that and you sort of get your priorities in check the older you get. And she wasn't getting her priorities in check. She was still making really immature, bad decisions for herself. And we had a falling out, and I think as you grow up and you sort of grow out of certain things, like you grow out of liking boy bands and, you know, having to have the most in clothes, like you grow out of stuff like that, you sort of grow out of people as well. And this is not saying, like I said, I was friends with this girl for like almost 10 years. If she called me today and was like, stranded on the side of the road, I need your help, no questions asked, I'd be there for her in a second. That's not what I'm saying. It's just the decisions she was making were just really bad, and I couldn't surround myself with that, like, negativity, and it was just she just sucked the life and all the good out of me. And that's not somebody who I wanted around, and it was sad because I was so close to her. I was so close to her family. She was like a sister to me. Like, her parents were like second parents to me, and that hurt, losing that connection. But at the same time, I couldn't put the fact that I had been friends with her for so long above my morals and my belief and like my moral code. She was doing things that just weren't, I wouldn't be a part of, didn't want to associate myself with. And I couldn't sit here and justify, well, because we've been friends for so long, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to watch her do these things, and I'm going to be a part of doing these things. I couldn't do it. And like I said, I still care about this girl. You know, if she ever needed my help or whatever, I would totally be there. I'm not saying, like, oh, if you have a friend who's doing things that you don't believe in, like, just dump them. That's not what it is. It was a series of, like, at least 3 or 4 years where it was kind of like, you know, you hanging out with that guy, or you doing this with that guy, you know, that's probably not the best decision. It was sort of like a constant, she said she was going to get her stuff together and then never did. And, like, I don't know, it's one of those things where you realize, like, as much as someone says they want to change, they're not going to change kind of things. So And I'm not saying, like, don't look like glass half empty on your friendships. Like, 100% cherish the moments you have with your friends. I had some of the funniest times. There's things that, like, shows that happen, or like shows that I see, or things that happen that will remind me of her all the time. I spent a huge chunk of time with her. Cherish those, because those are still great to me. Like, some of my first little road trips, and just, I've had a lot of firsts with her, like, just fun experiences, and that will never change. And not being friends with her doesn't take away the fun stuff. So don't, like, look at your friendships and go, oh man, you know, I might not be friends with you in a few years. Like, don't look at it like that. Just understand that, stay in the moment, stay in being young, cherish all the happy fun, like all those moments where you're just laughing and maybe you don't even know why, you're just having the time of your life. Cherish those, but also know when to draw the line and when to go, you know what, my beliefs and values and being true to myself is more important and is what matters more than continuing a friendship that probably isn't the best for myself. And I mean, within that, listen, it's like I said, it's hard at any age, I think, to establish really good friends and to really, really know who you can and can't trust. No matter what, there's a general level of respect that needs to go on. You're not going to be friends with everyone you meet. You don't have to be friends with everyone you meet, but I sincerely believe, and especially right now in today's society, bullying has gotten so out of hand. It is so out of control. You don't have to be friends with everybody, but I think you should respect everyone no matter what, 100%, hands down. Do not let bullying get to you. You are a good person. You know what's important to you. You know what matters. So don't let other people's negativity affect you. On the same token, don't be a negative person. Like I said, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but you do need to show everyone a level of respect and a level of just decency, just human being decency, no matter what age you are, because bullying is such a huge issue. It's such a huge topic, and I don't think that people realize that the things you say to somebody else, you don't really know at the end of the day how that's going to impact a person when they're laying in their bed at night. So think before you make a nasty, ugly comment about somebody. Just because you don't want to be friends with somebody, or maybe because the majority of the group or popular people aren't befriending a person, doesn't mean they're a bad person. That doesn't mean you should, like, shit talk them and, you know, be a jerk. That's totally cool. Let them do their own thing and you do you. Let it be that. You don't have to put anybody down, and if someone is putting you down, let me tell you, I am an oddball character, okay? I have a sharp tongue. I have an odd sense of humor. I'm just sort of an eyeball, and if I can have a few good friends, I'm telling you, there's somebody out there who's going to be friends for you. Find a topic that interests you. Find something that you like. And as bad as sort of the internet has become as far as social media and bullying, it's also good because it lends itself to you being able to reach out to people who have your same common interests. Like on YouTube, I would have never met a lot of the people I talk to about makeup and stuff like that if it wasn't for YouTube. You guys, stop the negativity. Let's stop the bullying. Let's really, because that's, I think, the most important thing I think you can do is surround yourself with good people and be a good person to other people. That's how you're going to have long-lasting friendships, because no one wants to be friends with a jerk, and that's how you're going to sit here and establish yourself, you know, in this world and just put good stuff out in the world. You don't have to like everyone, but I think you should put it on yourself to treat everyone with kindness and respect, because bullying is just, it's a huge issue. It's out of hand, you guys, and everyone can do their part to help stop it. So just be mindful of the things you say and treat others with love and respect and kindness. So I think that's all I have to say on this topic. I didn't mean to get too preachy, you guys, but really it is something that's close to my heart. I've been bullied before. I know, unfortunately, like I said, with that example of the girls in high school and stopped talking to them, like, I fallen victim to peer pressure and not being kind and not being friends with somebody else because of what other people say. I've been on both sides of that, and really, at the end of the day, I feel so much better about myself for now being able to choose who I want to be friends with and not letting other people's hate get to me. And I think that has lent itself to me treating a lot more people with a lot more respect. Like I said, there are people who I do not really care for at work. There are people who I meet who I will not be friends with, but I still try to treat them with kindness and respect, because you never know what other people are going through, and you never know how your words and actions are really gonna affect someone at the end of the day. So that's all. I hope you guys like this video, and once again, I will leave all of Glam Glitter Hipster's info in the down bar. Check her out. She's a super awesome girl. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.